Sports picks. His name is Jimmy the Bag. My name is Peter Loshak. This is Loshak in the Bag show for Wednesday, February 7th, 12 o'clock Eastern time. Always a fun show, often profitable, not always though. Yesterday was a crazy, wacky day. Jimmy the Bag, you swept college basketball, you swept NBA, but we both got murdered in NHL. So it all kind of came out in the wash for me. Overall, a lot of winners, a lot of losers, and I wound up just slightly down yesterday. Pretty much I got saved by the Cavs game. I had everything. The Cavs are getting so predictable now, right? It's so predictable.
It is unbelievable.
Do you know what I had on that game? I swear to God, I had Cavs first quarter, Cavs first half, Orlando full game, the under, and the second half under. All of it cash. Didn't have the balls to give Orlando on the second half, but the Cavs are getting really predictable, man.
They certainly are. It's unbelievable.
Yes.
But I mean, do you feel like today's action against the Wolves is predictable?
I kind of do. I kind of do. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of loving this, Jimmy the Bag. You know what I'm saying?
Melee Payless Way, he was with you again. I still am. Nothing is this predictable in sports gambling. But it certainly feels that way.
Yeah, maybe sometimes I'm kind of loving this, Jimmy. I mean, it's been going on for a while now, Jim.
Yeah, it's very I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy seeing great players deal with adversity and see what they do. Mm-hmm. But it certainly feels like there's only one great player on that basketball team, and that's the problem. I think we all expected more from Isaiah Thomas. We all expected more from a defensive perimeter situation with Jay Crowder. I mean, now Tyronn Lue couldn't make it through the game with the sickness. I mean, it's just mess. The whole thing is absolutely wild.
Once again, one play I didn't have was the Sixers first half and first quarter, once again cashing. I did not have that one. And in college basketball, a lot of the controversial games, clearly I was right on Iowa, right? They were getting way too many points there. The Kentucky-Tennessee game, everyone who had Tennessee cashed. Jimmy the Bag had Tennessee as a money line winner. It was close, though, and came down to the wire. So, it's one of those games where the points probably did matter. You know what I'm saying? Probably, if obviously if Kentucky had been getting 2.5, they would have covered. The points matter. Kentucky probably shouldn't have been a small home favorite there. Nice call on that one.
I was very impressed. I watched that game in its entirety, and I was extremely impressed with Tennessee. Even though it was such a close game, I knew that defensive pressure was going to take care of things.
Yeah.
And then we should give a shout out to Nate Pereira, who's now going by Machiavelli, new name, but same old dude. Because he said over and over again, with joke after joke after joke, how put a fork in the Cavs, they're fucking done. Remember, over and over and over and over, and he couldn't have been more right. Also want to give a shout out to Ben Goldstein. I don't know if he's up with us yet, but he had the money line on both Tennessee and Xavier.
Yes.
And that way ended up being a close spot. And then Davidson just absolutely rolled. And it was a very simple reason. And that was because the star on that Davidson was facing was a 6-foot point guard, and Davidson has 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", lengthy defenders on their guard position, so that guy could do absolutely nothing. It was.
I told you, Jim, when you do those kinds of breakdowns, this pretty much seals it for me, right? And it's not that the guy, because yesterday, for anyone who missed yesterday's show, in the morning show, I said I bet Davidson. I said I didn't have the balls to give it, right? Because it was 10.5. Then in the afternoon show, a guy who was 8-0 in moneyline dogs identified St. Joe's as one of the moneyline dogs that he thought might win outright. But Jim had looked into that game, and Jim liked Davidson and doubled up on it. So I didn't know what to think. I stuck with my bet on Davidson, but I didn't give it as a pick. And in the end, of course, good lesson, Jimmy. Stick to your guns when you're doing your research. And a further lesson is when you do. I told you, Jim, when you're looking at college basketball numbers, I think there's things there that are going on that you're not seeing. But when you're doing your breakdowns like you did on the Davidson game, your read on college basketball is dead on, Jimmy the Bag. I'm very proud of you for sticking to your guns too.
Yeah, and for Eric Hamburg, I mean, we've all been on that side too. Yeah. There's no Eric Hamburg is a great capper, and I've been there too, liking a dog, saying watch this dog could be dangerous, and then that dog being slaughtered. I mean, it's no shame on him, and he's a great capper. We love having, but that was if I could find more of those advantages and focus on those advantages, and I'm in a good place right now. This afternoon, I've got 5 hours of time for this college card, so I think that we can have some good places. And you have given me a lot of confidence when other people could be saying to me, "Jimmy, stop betting NCAA basketball. It's the only sport you're losing." And you're not saying that, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for giving me hope and confidence moving forward.
I think the mistakes you've been making have to do with the numbers and the spots. Keep that in mind. But the things you're doing very, very, very well are perfectly illustrated by the Davidson breakdown, by the Belmont breakdown. Earlier, I remember the Illinois-Chicago against Dartmouth game. That was a breakdown that went against the numbers, and that was correct. So, I think when you're reading a spot, be careful. But when you're reading the breakdowns and the matchups like you did on the Davidson game, trust your instincts. I'm glad you stuck to your guns yesterday, Jimmy the Bag, despite the fact that a guy who was doing well with Moneyline Dog said he liked them to maybe win outright.
Yeah, I hear you. And there's some tricky spots. Barry Shue comes in right away with I like Penn State today.
Me too.
I do too. I think that's a really good spot. And then I was thinking that Virginia might be that spot that has gotten the best of me, because it's so hard for me not to like them going into Florida State, even though Florida State just went into Louisville on a revenge game situation. But man,
and here's an interesting comment from Donald Trump about sample size. He says people are judging someone's skill based on 150 bets are, well, let's put it nicely, not really sharp, and that is true. I have been judging Jimmy based on the process, and that's what I'm saying, Jim. The process for you is very good. You know what I'm saying? The things that you've been doing wrong in college basketball are very correctable, and the things that you've been doing right in college basketball are not easily fixed by the market. So if you can just stick to those guns, just stick to doing that, you will have a lot of success long-term in college basketball. I'm telling you, because the things that you do are not easily quantifiable, Jim.
That means so much to me.
Yes, but as with all areas of sports betting and betting in general, it doesn't matter if you have an edge in a certain area and do well with it if you then go and make 50 other bets where you don't have an edge and you hemorrhage all your profits, right? Betting is tough. The reason it's tough is it's not just that you have to be able to find an edge and profit from it, then you also have to stay off all the bets where you don't have an edge and know the difference. You know what I'm saying, Jimmy the Bag?
That is the hardest part. I agree.
Discipline, bankroll, know thyself in sports betting. All right, so it was an interesting game. A few other things I want to just identify from yesterday. Pretty clearly, there was sharp money, big sharp money that came in on Minnesota. That sharp money was wrong, right?
Yeah, it sure was.
That was fucking wrong. The fuck they were seeing. My read on Northwestern was right. Also, other reads from yesterday that are interesting. Yeah, the Indiana State game. I knew something was up with that fucking line, man. And at the last minute, I wound up taking them first half and a full game. And of course, they got scotched. Missouri State had lost like 9 in a row ATS, and Indiana State coming off a big road loss, and I knew a big road win, and I knew there was something up with that line, man. There was something up with that line, and of course Missouri State got even I need to remind myself that I need to trust my reads on the spots even more than I already do. I mean, I already trust my reads on the spots. Look what happened with Indiana blowing out Rutgers, right? Nailed that one. But the Indiana State one, I knew that was the bad spot. But it just looked so good on paper for Indiana State. And then when the line moved into Indiana State's favor, I went on it. But no, I knew something was up with that. Also in college basketball, let's see. And then the other controversial game, Buffalo Central Michigan, flat out push. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have a whole bunch of people on one side, a whole bunch of people on the other side, and the line pushes, and you have no idea who is right or wrong.
Well,
right
not necessarily. I mean, Max Smart got him at -5.5,
yes,
and he hit the over. So line shopping, Max has a bunch of different books, and Max looked like a true pro.
Absolutely. That's what absolutely. You're learning, Jimmy the Bag. And Jimmy the Bag, nice call on Air Force yesterday. Fresno State, of course, absolutely rolled. And Kansas did get the win. And another example where line shopping matters. That line was 7 or 7.5 all day long. And if you had 7, you got to push. 7.5, you lost. And I had Kansas on the second half on that one. So I pushed my bet, cashed I'm telling you, man, if I didn't line shop, I'd probably be down. You know what I'm saying? Like, line shopping is so important. People don't realize that.
Austin Geist is right here, and we didn't mention this. The sharp money was also on the Devils.
Oh yes, that's right. And what happened? And they
knew.
yes,
I said
yes,
this.
yes.
I said it, and I wish I had followed it because I said maybe this is what the Senators need.
Yes.
All these forwards out of the lineup, and then what it does is it also. And I hate these enigmatic characters like Matt Duchene, but sometimes a guy like Matt Duchene needs for everyone to say, "Oh, it's all on you. We've got nobody left at center. You're gonna have to play 30 minutes. You're gonna have to do this and that." And then he's like, "Okay, watch me do it." You know.
Listen, when a line moves like that because of it, anytime a big player is out or a significant player is out, the line's going to move. Now, you as a handicapper can look at that and say, yes, I do think that guy is that important and the line is moving, then you probably want to, it probably hasn't moved enough. But like you said yesterday, if that line movement is maybe, if that player is not as important as the market is giving credit for, then you should go on the other side because that's a situation where, I mean, anytime a line makes a move, you want to know why. You know what I'm saying? And anytime, and in that situation, you have the answer perfectly. You know exactly why, right? It's because a guy's out. Anytime a guy's out, the line's going to move. That's in basketball, college basketball, anything, right? And it's not always correct, as you said, Jim. So definitely that's another thing. Now, if you do your handicapping and you handicap that the guy is that important, I'm not saying bet against every line move because the guy's out. But if you do your handicapping and you think that guy, like you said yesterday, wasn't as important as the market's giving credit for, do not be afraid to go against that line move. You know what I'm saying? Because that line move is not necessarily quote unquote sharp. It's just a reaction to the guy being out, and that will happen every time, every single time.
Yeah, and when I look back at yesterday, how it worked, taking a bath in NHL, I put myself in a situation where it's not devastating. I mean, you never like to lose, but it's not devastating. And now we have a nice small card, so I don't need to feel overwhelmed. Whatever. But there were some plays that I trusted and believed in on the hardwood, and I should have doubled up on the Raptors. I just knew that it was they were going to send a message to a banged up Celtic squad who will be very good moving forward, and that was just and then the Atlanta Hawks. And then we have another situation today with this Grizzlies team that's just a fractured group. And in saying that, one of the first messages I got this morning from our friend Ziggy Balls saying Jazz is a trap today.
Okay. Well, we will talk about that game. We will get to a lot of the comments here when we have a chance to get to it. And the Toronto game. I had Toronto not on the full game, but second half huge. I was all over Toronto on the second half, and Atlanta on the second half, and on Brooklyn. I lost that one by a half point, but the other two were huge winners.
It was a treat going back and forth from Tennessee to the Toronto game. Here we have Austin Geist, which is such a smart move, Austin. He says, I've started following all NHL teams on Twitter for up-to-the-minute injury reports. It's actually helped out a little. I'm sure it will continue to, Austin Geist. That's a very smart move.
That's interesting, and I told you I tell the story a lot, which is so funny. I know a professional sports betting syndicate. I do know some pros, Jim. I do know some legit pros. I'm talking about legit pros. That's how I know a lot of what I know, because they told me that like 6 years ago. I was like, really? That's what you do? And so that's how I know a lot of what I know. I have a friend who's in a sports betting syndicate. It's not a big one, but they have a lot of money. They kill NFL. Preseason, and in the NFL preseason, they have one employee who's just working 80 hours a week. His entire job is just to read Twitter. That's it. That's all he does.
That's interesting. I have a friend, a pro gambler, who all he does is on baseball spring training, and he simplifies it so much. Now, I'm curious to see what you think of it. He simplifies it so much where he just follows the line moves, and when there's a major line move in a spring training game, he follows it blindly, and he's showing me the percentages that it's hit at, and it's a very high percentage. I know it's simplifying things too much.
Yes.
But
I would say my first response to that is it's simplifying things too much, and as the sports betting markets mature, that edge will be less and less and less, guaranteed. But if there's any market where that would work, it would be in spring training baseball, because that is a market where the moves are almost all going to be caused by knowledgeable action. So
I've never been more excited about anything truly than I am about having the whole baseball season sitting right beside you 2 days, 2 times a day.
Yes.
I'm so goddamn excited. I really think we can do some real good and make some fucking money.
Yes.
I'm so fucking excited. And because the schedule sets up where after NBA and NHL, all we have to do is focus solely on these baseball teams.
Yep.
Oh, God.
In those months, I'm going to be doing 4 things: MLB, WNBA, banging MILFs, and ayahuasca. That's it. 4 things. 4 things. That's Juanma has a comment here. After I make that comment, what Juanma say?
I got a question from our friend Spiritual 8.
Sure.
What does a trap mean? The line is wrong. Oddsmaker missed something. Is line adjusted? Or?
Okay, I can answer that. Officially, technically, there is no such thing as a trap. Just like you can say, what's the definition of a good song? Well, I don't know. Is it a good song that a lot of people like, that you like, that I like? If someone says the Beatles suck, does that mean they're right? So officially, there's no official definition of a trap. There's no official definition of a trap. What people mean is that the line, at first glance on paper, obviously seems off. And it seems off, and you would want to bet one side very obviously based on just no research, and just seems like the line is off. And what they mean by the trap is that, in fact, anyone who bets that way is betting on the wrong side and making a negative EV play. And in fact, the correct play is on the opposite side. But officially, a trap is a completely subjective term.
Yeah, that's a great answer to that question. So obviously, we look at this Jazz Grizzlies line and we think, oh my God, Jazz have won 6 straight, 4 straight on the road, won their last 4 games by a total of 95 points against this banged up Grizzlies squad. Well, they're going to slaughter them. And when you and then you get afraid, well, this is too easy. Obviously, it just doesn't work like that. And then the fear sets in, and
yes.
But that was a perfect answer there. Yeah.
All right. So, and then also, yes, the simplified version was just by Eric Swiatek, which says a trap is something that seems too good to be true. Right. Completely subjective. All right. Let's get into some handicapping. How about that, Jimmy the
And
Bag?
Bill Butler says trap is a music genre.
Yes,
right?
it is.
Get some trap music.
a lot of.
Kobe says a trap is a vagina.
Yes. Okay. All right, so let's start off. We're going to start off with NHL. Just 3 games on the card tonight. Some interesting ones. Jimmy the Bag. Let's start off with you. What are you liking in NHL tonight?
Okay, let me get to the NHL card. Well, okay, first off, I feel a little gun shy. So I have some leans, but I'd rather break down the games. There's only 3 of them. Break them down in full, and then make a play with them together as a group. So what game would you like to? I guess the Predators at Leafs is extremely exciting.
Yes, that's certainly an interesting one. Let's start with that one, Jim.
Leafs are coming off an impressive 7-4 win over the Ducks on Monday. It was their league-leading 5th time that they scored at least 7 goals in a game. Are we going to see them scoring more, moving forward, just like we did in the beginning of the year, that a ton of people made money off of, and for some reason I was slow on the trigger and didn't make as much money as everybody else? Frederik Andersen is expected to be available. I truly think he will be available from everything that he said. He suffered a jaw injury versus the Ducks on Monday night. They are 6-2-2 over their last 10, 15-8-2 at home. Preds will be without Philip Forsberg, who's sitting out the second game of a 3-game suspension. Preds have won 3 straight after coming back to defeat the Islanders on the road 5-4 in overtime on Monday night. Now, this Preds team is for real. I would say that they are the most dangerous team in the National Hockey League. I would predict they will have the best record in the NHL moving forward, but not necessarily this evening. The reason why I say this stuff is because they're getting production from players that I was waiting for them. First off, Ryan Johansson scored the game-tying goal with just 43 seconds left. It was just his 6th goal of the season. I expect him to get rolling. Kevin Fiala scored twice for the 2nd game in a row. 3rd time in his last 7 games. If they start getting juggernaut production from Kevin Fiala on the second line, then the Arvidsson, Johansson, Forsberg line as well. Who do you defend? There's too many guys to defend. They're 8-1-1 over their last 10. The Preds are 14-7-4 on the road. They're a healthy squad. It's not too late to take them to win the West and to win the Cup. I've already done that. Really? I think they're a very good team. In saying all that, I don't know about tonight's spot.
Yeah. I'm going to pass on this game. It was definitely a pass for me. It's definitely very interesting. I don't even know if I like the over, the under. Obviously, both teams have been very high scoring recently, but I don't know if I'd want to take an over here. Would you, Jim?
Well, let's see here. Udon Porn, Ratnafacti likes the over 5.5. Joel Smith says Nashville, Toronto over. It's just a okay. If there was a move I would make, I think I would probably lean towards the over. Barkaman G11 says Anderson's gone 2-2-0 while allowing combined 11 goals on 147 shots, 925 save percentage, 1 shutout in the last 5 starts. Predators are 8-2 in their last 10 when their opponent scores 5 goals or more in their previous game. Ooh, that's an interesting fact, Kobe. 27 goals between both these teams last 3 games. I do like the over, says Austin Geist. I'm going to sit and wait on this. I don't have a move yet. And then Salazar, my old friend, great horse handicapper, great guy, says I'll take the trap of Utah. Very cool, Salazar. Please stay with us for that segment when we come in. I think that the over is probably the play. Kobe says Nashville 4, Leafs 3. Interesting spot, but I do find it dangerous. What is the line on the over?
Well, it's 5.5 minus 110. 5.5 minus 110, just a standard line there.
That's a pretty standard, easy line.
Well, actually 105 at Bet Online.
That's pretty easy.
Yeah, I'm going to hold off on this one. Just because I understand why the over would be a good play, but I feel a little bit nervous about it, so I'm going to hold off on it.
Just because there have been so many goals in the last little bit, and we know that just doesn't continue unabashedly.
All right, let's move on to Boston and the Rangers. Obviously, Boston is awesome. Jimmy the Bag, you said that last night on the first of a back-to-back might be a little bit trappy for Boston going up against Detroit. They did pull out a win. They didn't win the puck line though, so it was close. Now they're back on the next game of a back-to-back, and they're going up against Rangers, who have been very beatable. Losing most of their games recently. Very beatable team. What's your take on this game? Not a huge line for Boston here.
This was a tough spot, but I'm a huge Brad Marchand fan. I know he plays dirty, and everybody from Toronto despises him, but he does all the little things to get under your skin and add that to a top 5 scorer in the National Hockey League. He's an excellent player. He's back from his 5-game suspension. As Pete said, second half of a back-to-back. Bruins are 8-1-1 over the last 10, 17-1-3 over the last 21. They're now just 3 points back of Tampa for number 1 in the NHL. Khudobin will get the start for the Bruins. He's 10-3-4 with a 2.36 goals against average, 924 save percentage, and they have Marchand back. Bruins are 14-5-4 on the road. The Rangers finished off a rough road trip through the Central Division with a 2-1 loss at Dallas on Monday. Lundqvist made 39 saves in the loss, and the question here is, has he righted the ship? Because he was just going through a very difficult stretch where he looked terrible. He was pulled from 3 straight starts before making it through a full game in a 5-2 loss in Nashville. His save percentage over his last 5 is a dreadful 8.42%. Buchnevich has become a much bigger part of this team. He's out with a concussion. VC's out with a concussion. Mark Stahl has a cervical strain. These guys are banged up, and the other guys aren't pulling their weight. Mm-hmm. So Searcy says fade the Rangers in capital letters. I think that Udon Porn Rat in the Factory says Boston under 5.5. Mm-hmm. Mutt Beast. Mm-hmm. Rangers suck.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they do. Mutt Beast. I love Mutt Beast. Yes, you're absolutely right there. Mutt Beast.
G-Money NHL Top Shelf. Boston continues to roll. Rangers just cannot score right now. Bruins minus 1.5. I really think that coming back from a road trip is hard. All signs point to the Bruins here to me. Mm-hmm. All signs point to the Bruins, but I don't like the number that you get on just the money line.
I mean, it's not that huge. It's, minus 133 would be the best line right now, If you have 5 dimes, which you should, we don't use it in these shows because they are intentionally off market, but 5 dimes has minus 130.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Bruins is a series. He says, I like Boston.
And what's your take on it's going to be Khudobin, right? And he's fine, right?
Khudobin is fine, yes. Yeah. Future guys on the Rangers got a couple clown faces. I don't know if I trust the clown face.
All right, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take Boston minus one. The best line for the money line is minus 133. And the best line for the puck line is going to be plus 216 at Pinnacle. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take Boston. Of course, I'm coming off of a flat shutout in NHL. Lost about 10 units, almost 10 units in NHL last night. I'm still way up though, but lost 10 units in NHL last night. But I'll take that one. Boston minus 1, puck line plus 216, money line minus 133, and we'll see how it turns out.
I think that's a play. But just looking at the comments, man, SM, a great hockey handicapper out of Canada, says he just bet the player prop. For the top, he took Marchand to get more points than Zibanejad. That's a nice spot. A nice spot. I think that's now Brent Brooks says now that's a fucking trap game.
Yeah,
the Rangers.
It could be.
Now, if this wasn't the first game back at home for the Rangers, Vincent Mackwell says Rangers underdog. My instinct initially when I was looking at this game was, God, I think the Rangers might be in a nice spot, but I expected the Bruins to be bigger favorites. Mr. Cloudkick says, don't fix it if it ain't broke. Bruins all month.
It's just in NHL, and you see this in the playoffs too, for sure. You look at like back-to-backs and this and that and this and that, but when a team really gets going, when a team really gets momentum, I tend to just ride that momentum, even on back-to-backs, even as small road favorites, until it ends.
But this is a back-to-back where they're getting a huge boost. Marchand in the lineup.
Yeah.
Underdog says, thank you, love the show. We love you, Underdog, all you guys. This chat is so enormously important. Yeah, I agree. I'm overthinking this, and I don't have to. We were talking last week about what a big part of the offense Buchnevich has become. VC also been a little disappointing in his career, but he's still a two-way forward. He does a lot of good things. Mark Stahl's a very important defenseman. Lundqvist has been questionable at best, pulled 3 straight games and allowed 5 goals in Nashville, then had 1 good game on the road. Now he comes back. Oh, we got a first-time watcher. Okay, I'm going to take the Bruins on the puck line.
Okay.
And I'm going to give a shout-out to Arnold Garza. Okay. First time watching us. Arnold, thank you for coming in. Let's get that fucking cash, Arnold.
Arnold Garza, thank you so much. Let's see. Mutt Beast, did anyone get a second-half line on Kansas last night? My guy never put it up. Yes, Mutt Beast, I was all over it, -5.5, and it was actually looking, very iffy most of the way, but it did wind up cashing. I did take Kansas last night, the second half -5.5, and if it had lost, I would have been fine. Why? Bet sizing. I bet sized it appropriately, even though I did go on it pretty big. All right, puck line. Boston is +216, and I'm taking Boston -1. Okay, and now let's move on to.
Sorry, what did I get with the puck line?
+216. +216. It's the current line at. Current line at Pinnacle +216. All right, now let's move on to Edmonton and LA. Another interesting one, of course. Edmonton blew out Tampa Bay in their last game. I had the over on that one, and I did not take Tampa Bay. But the LA Kings also at times capable of getting big wins. They've won 4 out of their last 5, coming off a big shutout over Arizona, of course. So we put a little asterisk on that one, or a huge asterisk on that one. What'd you take on this one, Jim?
I think this is unfair to the Oilers. This is I don't remember seeing a back-to-back this difficult in a long time. You play in Edmonton and then the next night in Los Angeles. I mean, that's not a short flight.
Actually, they're not on a back-to-back, though.
Didn't they play the Lightning last night?
No, on the 5th.
Oh, shit, I thought that was last night.
No.
The 6-goal, the McDavid. Okay.
Yeah, and I know that because I won that one, and last night I had 0 winners, so yeah.
Oh, that makes it, okay, that's a much nicer spot. So I thought McDavid scored 4 goals in that win over the Lightning, 6 goals, 1 assist in his last 2 games. Oilers are 5-1-1 in their last 7 with wins over the Lightning and Golden Knights. But they're 12 points out of a playoff spot. Now, they could go on a roll and still not make the playoffs. They're 11-11-2 on the road, 5-4-1 their last 10. Adam Larson still having a difficult time with the death of his father, will be out of the lineup. Hopkins remains out. Now, here's the goalie controversy we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. Jonathan Quick has lost 7 of 8. Do we know if he's starting tonight? Because this morning we didn't know if he was starting tonight. His last 2 starts have been very bad. Pulled from the Canuck game after allowing 5 goals in a little over a period. Followed that up by allowing 5 goals in a 5-0 loss at Nashville. And Darcy Kemper has been an absolute monster. Back-to-back shutouts, hasn't allowed a goal in 170 minutes, but Quick is expected to get the start. They're getting Alec Martinez back. Kings are 13-9-3 at home, 4-6-0 over the last 10. I find this a very difficult spot. NBA Conference Premium says Kings puck line. Eric Swiatek says Kings puck line is my only NHL play. Got it at +220. Feel good about this. I love the over 2s. I just love sitting back with a couple over 2 puck lines. It's been very good to me. Vincent Mackwell says Edmonton rolls tonight. MCC Coach says Kings are hot. Everybody here seems to like the over. I mean, Talbot's been terrible all season. I've not trusted overs with the Kings in action. They're still a very good defensive team. But a lot of these guys like the Oilers, and then a lot of these guys like the Kings. This is a back and forth spot. I'm not going to make a move on this at this point. Are you going to make a move? This is
no. I guess I would be leaning over because it is a little bit of a low line here. And I was just not exactly sure what to expect from Quick right now. What do you expect from Quick in general going forward?
I said in the beginning of this year that I thought Quick was going to go downhill and that these groin injuries are difficult to get over with. And that was a lower body injury last year that kept him out for 60 games. I took a ton of shit because he started out incredibly well. I'm not going to say I'm right or anything like that because it's just a small sample size here of him playing poorly. But man, Kemper's going to get scooped up.
Yeah.
He's going to get scooped up by somebody because we've seen so many backup goalies in LA watch quick and become great.
Yes.
This is a very difficult spot. Do we know for sure that Quick is the goalie tonight?
No, I will check my source right now, but I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, if it's Kemper, I wouldn't like the over at all. So all right. I'm going to pass on that one, Jim. Do you want to make a play on it or not? And let's move on. If not,
let's move on. Scuba Steve says Quick is fighting for a spot. He's going to be fine. G Money NHL Top Shelf says McDavid let out of his cage. Going to put on one clinic after another. That's possible. But Vincent says good call, Jimmy. Stay away from the total. Roast of Drama says NHL games look pretty tough to me today, and I agree with that sentiment. Although I'm happy that I didn't overthink it and just took Boston. Okay.
All right. Okay, so now let's move on to NBA. Once again, in NHL, Jim and I are both on Boston. That's our only plays. I'm on Boston -1. He's on Boston on the puck line. And now let's move on to NBA. Jim, of course, I had 2 winners yesterday. Jim had 2 winners yesterday. And, the Cavs are being very good to me right now. And I guess we can throw up the NBA record. Sure, why not? Jim's nicely in double digits. I am really clawing back.
Wow,
our regular viewers will remember that I was down literally 25 units or so a couple weeks ago. And now I'm almost even. Got to keep going, though. Got to keep grinding. And I guess let's start with the Cleveland game. I bet Minnesota as soon as that line came out at -2.5. I also hit the under, and I think that I like Minnesota here at 4. I don't know if I would still like it. And Cleveland, of course, has been a great first-half team. Today, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe taking Minnesota on the first half. I did bet that one at -1, and I also like the under on this one. What's your take on this game, Jim?
Wow, Adam Lopez right out of the gate says Wolves have to be a no-brainer, right? Got 3.5 this morning. God, is this tough. Tomor, nice to have you, pal, says, I think there's value on Minnesota. LeBron played 35 to 40 minutes a game early, and he can't carry the team at this age on back-to-backs. Cavs' only recent win were against bad offensive teams. And C. Saran says, yep, I agree on the Wolves. Baseball Bob just took Minnesota -4. Yeah, man. Okay, so what can you say positive about the Cavs? They look good in the first quarter. They're 19-7 at home. Second half of a back-to-back after losing 116-98 Orlando last night. Easily covered the first quarter. First half then got destroyed. Put up 43 in the first. We're up 67-51 in the half. Then put up 22 in the third and 9 in the fourth quarter. Tyrone Lue left the game with an undisclosed illness in the second quarter with the team comfortably ahead. Cavs are 6-13 since Christmas. They're 0-8 since Christmas in nationally televised games. 0-8. This is a nationally televised game tonight. Dwayne Wade will be out of the lineup with an undisclosed sickness. Timberwolves destroyed the Cavs last time. We all saw it. They met on January 8th in Minnesota, 127-99. They got out to a 20-4 lead. We're up by as many as 41. But the Wolves have not looked good lately. Wolves have lost 4-7, but they are a healthy squad, and they've not looked good on the road, 12-16 there. Yes, I mean, I don't know what to do with this stuff.
Jim does not know what to do. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off with Minnesota first half, -1.5, -105. I'm also leaning to the under, and I will take that one. I will take the under, 224.5, -110. Now, the first half might be super explosive, but like last night, if the first half is explosive, I will take the second half under. I did have the under in that game yesterday, and it was looking not good for a while until the second half came around, or the fourth quarter, really. I will take the under, 224.5 on that one, -110. That's a market line. I will take Minnesota first half, -1.5 on the first half. And I'm also thinking about taking Minnesota on the full game or maybe the money line. Jim, after hearing that, are you going to do anything on this game?
At this point, I'm not.
Okay.
I just need more. I just can't make a trigger reaction, even though I've been thinking about this for so long. Bill Butler says, T-Wolves eviscerate the Cavs.
Yeah.
Cope Valentine says Cavs are 0-7 against the spread in their last 7 games versus a team with a winning percentage over 600. It's a fucking mess. NBA Conference Premium says this ref crew in this game never loses with LeBron.
That does matter, as we know. As we know, the NBA is basically fixed, and the ref crew is very important. Where's that comment? Where's that comment?
NBA Conference Premium. Nice to have him. It's just about maybe 10 up from the bottom.
Let's see. The ref crew in this game never lost with LeBron. That's concerning. Because, they might, after last night's game, all the phone calls might be made. You know what I mean? The commissioner calling the head ref, the ref calling the other refs, all the refs talking to each other. Wow. And they might have, a little conference call and be like, listen, Get the Cavs a fucking win tonight, all right? And
NBA conference premium right here says Callahan 10-0 last 10 Cavs games.
Mm-hmm.
Reggie says I like Cavs tonight.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I'm just going to take the Cavs and Antoine Seymour doing the old take Cavs first half, take the Wolves on the full game, fade the Cavs on the full game dichotomy, which has been so profitable. This game, though, I think might possibly go the other way, especially if the refs are in on it. It might be that the Cavs get dominated in the first half, and then, the conference call goes at halftime, and then the refs come in, let LeBron know what's going to happen, let the T-Wolves know what's going to happen, be like, you guys might not want to play hard because you're going to lose no matter what. So, I mean, that's what the refs can do. The refs don't even have to fix the game. They can just go to the opposing team and say, listen, play hard if you want. No matter what you do, you're going to lose. So you may as well not even play hard. Then the team comes out. They don't play hard. Refs don't even have to fix the game. That's how you do it, Jimmy the Bag. That's how you fix a fucking game in 2018, baby.
Dan Kelly says that is true. Lead ref tonight. 9-0-1 at Cavs with Cavs at home. And then our man Nate says that new info just fucked my mind. I didn't think of that.
Okay, so my prediction on how this game goes, I think it goes under. I think the T-Wolves cover the first half. Then the refs have the conference call at halftime. Go tell Jimmy Butler and all those cats about what's going to happen. And the Cavs win the game outright. That's my prediction. I'm taking Minnesota on the first half, -1.5, -105, and the under 224.5, -110.
God, I couldn't be more head fucked from this Cavs team. And the one thing that has helped me in basketball is, even though you guys have been making bank nonstop, is just I'm staying away from it. I'm not letting it devour me. But I will likely make a play at this game after thinking about it all fucking day.
Jake Block makes a good comment. Refs couldn't save the Pats. Why would they help the Cavs? Good comment there. Good comments there.
That is a good comment.
And then let's see. And then someone else said, Lou H says, ain't no ref in the NBA that can help the Cavs win. LOL Wolves all day. Yes, very, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. All right, so I've made a couple picks on this one. Jim, you're going to totally pass on it, right?
At this point.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. All right, so let's move on. What else do we have in the NBA tonight? Well, Houston-Miami is a very interesting one. I also did have the under in the Houston-Brooklyn game. That one lost, but I knew I was on the wrong side of that one when we saw the late line movement, and I'm glad I talked you off the Brooklyn team total under, right,
Oh,
Jim?
God, was I ever thankful about that.
I mean, that was one where I was like, look, this line move, again, usually the late line movement I consider to be sharper, and especially with the betting profile of that game, I knew I was on the wrong side of that one. Houston-Miami, I'm kind of liking the under again here. What do you think, Jim?
Well, I think the Heat are – we all have seen. That's why I don't think this – the Heat are susceptible right now. They are not looking good. Rockets are on the second half of back-to-back after winning 123-113 Brooklyn last night. They've now won 12 of 14. Harden coming off being named Western Conference Player of the Week. Averages 34.7 points, 10.3 assists, 6 boards, 2.3 steals. Rockets went 3-0. Went for 36 last night. Eric Gordon returned to the lineup after missing 2 games with a back injury. Trevor Ariza remains out of the lineup with a hamstring injury. Heat have lost 4 in a row. Coming off a 111-109 loss at home to the Magic. Miami went 3 for 23 from 3. Spoelstra has said that his defense has dropped off considerably, that they're showing no energy. And I don't necessarily think that him saying that is good. Sometimes I think when a coach says something that they will change. I don't know about this here. Kelly Olynyk hurt his shoulder in Monday's loss to the Magic, but X-rays came back negative. He's day-to-day. Winslow is sick and questionable. I think that they are vulnerable and that the Rockets are going to beat them.
Funny shit here. Reggie posted, I like Cavs tonight. Justin Searcy posted, Reggie, stop, in caps. Funny shit. All right, so you want to make a pick on this one, Jim?
I do. I just, the way I see this game, the line is small enough that I don't need to worry. Ryan Anderson is questionable with a right ankle sprain. The Rockets have called him probable. You know what? Get Mbah Moute in there. That's fine. You know, he can play defensive. PJ Tucker can move over when they play small ball. Ryan Anderson is another offensive weapon for a team that has enough of them. I think the Heat are vulnerable, and I'm going to take the Rockets to win this game.
Okay, and what's your take on the total? Because I was thinking about the under, but I'm also thinking like if the first half doesn't go under, I definitely wouldn't be wanting the full game under. I was thinking about throwing the first half under here. We know that Houston has been a big under trender on the road, and there have been more than 1 or 2 spots recently, especially with road games, where against teams like the Spurs and teams like that, where they have been involved in very low scoring games. What's your take on that, Jim?
There's a lot of yes, I feel that play. I feel it, but D says I would never take a Houston under. I would not get burned when it starts raining threes. And that will always be our fear with the Rockets, but they've clearly been an under-trending team lately.
And especially on the road. All right, I'll take it one way. I'm not going to take the full game. I am going to take the first half under 108.5 minus 110. That's the current line at Pinnacle. I can certainly understand why anyone would say just never take an under with Houston, but they've been a major under-trender overall on the year.
Kobe comes in and says under is 10-1 in the Rockets' last 11 overall. Yeah. Under 6-2 in Heat last 8 overall. I have to get to this comment quickly. Just I know it's not on this game, but we have Rich Banks in the house. Great capper on the hardwood. He says this in all capitals. I hate to tell you all this. When everyone says don't bet Cavs, it's time to bet the Cavs. That's what Rich Banks is saying.
And I am just on the first half again with Minnesota. Not the full game, just the first half. Okay, so I'm taking the first half under in the Miami game, 108.5 minus
Native
minus
Queen's
110.
with you. Got to lean on the under too, Peter. But she says Houston is 13-5 first quarter against the spread last 18. Love the first quarter.
And isn't Miami? Aren't they? They were also a team that was doing well early. But okay, all right. And Reggie's on the Rockets. Okay.
And so am I.
All right, you are, Jim. All right,
Yeah,
so what do you want to
game.
do?
I want full game.
Okay, Rockets full game spread right now would be it's 4.5 or 5. The best line would be 4.5 minus 110. Jim's going to take Houston minus 4.5 minus 110 at Pinnacle, and this is a little bit cheap, but I might just I might just fucking tail every Native Queen first quarter play and just start adding
fire.
And then my record will suddenly get positive and be like, wow, Peter, you are no joke in the NBA. Nice job, and I'll have to be like, well, I just blindly tailed one of our commenters, which will be good for our ratings, Jim.
Greg Schneider's been talking a lot about the trade issue in that Cavs game, and I'm sorry to keep going back. It's such an exciting thing, and he thinks he's going to take the Cavs as long as there are no trades before the game. And it's tricky, Greg, to decipher whether a trade is going to be good or bad necessarily for the vibe in the dressing room. And that's why I can't. Seriously says Rockets are on a back-to-back, and they are. That doesn't really concern me. This is the most susceptible this Heat team has looked all season.
And Olnick is injured, right?
Olnick is injured. And Max says, I'm tailing Native Queens Rockets first quarter.
Okay, I'm tailing it too. Once again, I'm telling this to myself and to everyone else. No one hits everything. You know what I'm saying? So if it loses, you bet size appropriately and you're fine. I'm going to take Houston first quarter -1, -102. That is the current line at Pinnacle. I mean, Houston is absolutely rolling right now for sure. All right, so Jim's on Houston full game. I'm on Houston first quarter, and I took the first half under in that game as well. All right, let's move on. What else is interesting? Let's talk about Indiana and New Orleans. That's certainly interesting. New Orleans, of course, struggling without Boogie, but now they've got Mirotic in there, and that will probably help them at some point, at least a little bit long term. What do you think about this game, Jim? And I believe, is Oladipo back or not? I think he is, right?
The very latest news we've got about Oladipo is that he will travel with the team, and they're hopeful that he will play. He did not practice yesterday, and they need him desperately. They're 0-6 without him in the lineup this year. I like the Pelicans here.
Me too.
I think they're in a good spot. They've lost 4 or 5 since losing Boogie for the season, coming off a disappointing 133-109 loss to the Jazz. Mirotic went just 2 for 8 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, 5 points, 3 boards, 2 assists in 33 minutes, but he said all the right things in the post-game interview. That's a terrible line from Mirotic that I'm shocked that he would put up, but he said all the right things. Reggie says Pelicans is my lean. Pacers have beaten the Pelicans in 12 of 15 meetings. Pelicans won the last matchup 117-112 in Indiana, but the Pelicans received 32 points, 13 boards from the now missing Cousins. Pacers are coming off that 111-102 home loss to the Wizards. They played the game without Oladipo. And Darren Collison is a huge loss.
Yes.
Now, his numbers haven't been that good, but he does a lot of important things. And Corey Joseph just can't pick up the slack enough over 35 or 40 minutes. And as I said, 0-6 with Oladipo. They've lost by an average of 12 points. I think this line will change a bit as soon as they announce that Oladipo's good to go. So I think that I'm going to be beating it by taking the Pelicans now. NBA Conference Premium says Pelicans.
Well, no. If you're taking the Pelicans now and they announce Oladipo's in, then he'll be, unless the line is assuming that Oladipo's in, then it'll move down.
Yeah, I think that they're assuming, Donald Trump just comes in and says Oladipo's feeling much better and we'll be ready to go.
Yes. So I think this line assumes that he's going to be in.
Yeah, you're right. It won't change much. or at all. You don't think it'll change at all?
Not on Oladipo news, no.
Okay.
I mean, it might on money. All right, I'm going to take New Orleans first half -1.5, -110. I will take that one. New Orleans first half -1. Oh, no, it's actually a 108 at Pinnacle. I'll take New Orleans first half -1.5, -108. I'm liking New Orleans here. I'm not totally sure I want them on the full game. Again, we do the show at 6 o'clock Eastern time. I might double up on this one, but I was leaning New Orleans here as well, and I will take a -1.5, -108 on the first half. What do you want to do on this game?
I'm going to take New Orleans on the full game.
Okay, New Orleans full game, and there are some threes available. Let's find that. Let's see, -3, -115. Intertop says 3 -1. Whoa, the market seems to be moving in favor of Indiana. Wonder why that is. That could be just
because it was official just minutes ago.
Yes. Okay, so Jim will take New Orleans -3, -110. -3, -110. That is the best line there at Intertops, UWager, and a bunch of other places. -3, -110. I took the first half is also moving. Well, I just locked in -1.5, -108. That's now headed down. It's 105. There'll probably be some ones soon, so that's a little bit annoying. But I took first half. Jim took full game. And is that it for you, Jim?
That is it for me in that game. But yeah, I'm gonna. The total is interesting in this spot, and I'm gonna keep an eye on it.
Okay, let's move to San Antonio Phoenix because that is a game that I did bet on the under. I got 206. It's now down to 203 or 203.5. Damn it! I think I'm gonna double up on this one, a full game and a first half. I also had the under. That's another one of my winners last night. The under in the Phoenix Lakers game. I knew that was a good play. That was way too high. I did have a winner with that one. Spurs, of course, starting on their rodeo road trip. I think this one will be a classic sort of modest scoring Spurs game, and I will take the under first half and full game, even though the line is way worse now than where it is when I took it at 206. The Greek still does have 203.5. All right, hope these friggin' points don't burn me. I will take the Phoenix game under 203.5 -110, and I also bet the first half under. Let me see where that one is right now. It's oh Jesus, yeah. All right, still a 98 available at Pinnacle, so I will take the first half under 98 -112. That's the current line at Bet365. We do use Bet365 lines. They have 98 -110, so I will take that one. First half under and full game under in Spurs Phoenix. Do you have anything to say about that game before we move on, Jim?
I like that play. Low total, but I can understand that. Spurs have not looked good of late, and then Popovich just put them through a full practice on Monday for the first time in 55 days. If you break down their roster, I mean, they've lost 2 in a row, 3 of their last 5 home games, although they're on the road now, and 10 of 19 overall. With Leonard and Gay out, they only have 2 guys in the lineup averaging double figures in Aldridge and Gasol. And here I was talking so much great things about Gasol. He was just replaced in the starting lineup by Davis Bertans. That's a big change. So I've got to watch this game closely to see what's really going on here. Suns do not look good. They're going to miss Booker, second straight game with a hip injury. Even in the 3 games he played between injuries, because he suffered that rib injury against the Rockets January 24th. He's just 19 for 52 from the field. But Josh Jackson's playing very well, and he will be a good player moving forward. 5 games, averaging 20 points, 7 boards. I think that you are on the right track. What's the full game under?
203.5 -110. That's the current line of Greek. Again, I got it at 206, which is hopefully they won't matter. Like I said yesterday to someone who asked about the Cavs' first quarter line, should he take it at the worst line? Most of the time it doesn't matter. Sometimes it does. And that's the difference between winning and losing a lot of times, certainly with my betting this year. All right, so, I'll take the under 203.5, -110 as an official pick here, and the first half under, Jim. We do want to get to college basketball today, so we got to wrap this shit up. We got a couple other games we got to get to. You want to play on this one or pass?
I think the full game under is a good spot here.
So
I'm going to take it.
Jim's going to take Phoenix under 203.5 -110. That's the current line at the Greek. All right, now let's talk about that interesting Utah-Memphis game. Obviously, Utah has been absolutely rolling. I did bet, and this was just kind of like a knee-jerk, no-brainer play that I had to do. I did take the Utah team total over at 105. That is just such a no-brainer play. They've been absolutely explosive offensively over their past bunch of games. The total is headed down, though, which is concerning, and I got it at 105. It's probably lower than that right now. What'd you take on this game, Jim?
Well, I see the Jazz still having something to play for. They need to continue this streak. They need to solidify their playoff position. They're now up to 25 and 28. So I see this as a very important game for the Jazz, not a letdown spot that other people might see it as. The Jazz have won 6 straight, looked to sweep a 4-game road trip talked to Rodney Hood came back from a 6-game absence with a leg injury by going 12 for 14 from the field, 4 for 4 from 3, scoring 30 points in 27 minutes. Ricky Rubio's been playing better than I've ever seen him play in my whole life. 21 points a game, 9.2 assists, 4.6 boards over the last 5, shooting 55% from the field, 63% from 3 over that span. Led an offense that's averaged 120 points over the last 4 games. In their last 30 meetings against the Grizzlies, a losing team has been held under 100 points, and that will be the Grizzlies tonight, the way I see it. They just got destroyed at Atlanta. They'd won 5-8 before deciding to shelve Tyreek Evans. Now they've lost 6-7 and 4 straight. Everybody's healthy on this team, though, except for Conley, and Chandler Parsons could come back tonight. He's practiced on Monday, hopes to be back in the lineup. This is just how do you not take the Jazz? I mean, but Reggie says, give me Memphis. I'm not going to make a quick play on this. I'm going to sit on this all day.
Okay. Yeah, and I did, like I said, I bet the team total over for Utah at 105, and it's now down to 104 at Heritage I'm seeing right now. So that's not a good sign there. All right, let's move on. We do have one other college.
Twatty has one. I don't mean to interrupt, but one great point on this spot. Okay. Twatty Latte says, if the Jazz win, it was low-hanging fruit, and if they lose, it was a trap.
Yes. All right, now let's move on to Brooklyn and Detroit. Of course, Detroit has been winning with Griffin in the lineup, but not necessarily covering. They're just 2-2. Brooklyn coming back-to-back, of course. They played at against Houston last night, did slightly get the cover. The game went over. I was thinking now might be a spot to take a shot with the Brooklyn team total under at 100. And I was thinking leaning to the under on this game as well, and maybe a shot with Detroit minus the big points first half or full game. What'd you take on this one, Jim?
Well, I think I would like to double up on Detroit in this game, but I'm not going to do it until I am sure that Andre Drummond is okay. I mean, I saw the clip of it. He looked fine. He twisted he sprained his ankle, walked off under his own power, and didn't take his shoe off. So I assume he's good to go. But I'm not going to double up on this game without knowing that, because I need him desperately. If I take the double, he's playing like an absolute monster. Just Eastern Conference Player of the Week, 19.3 points, 19 boards, 3.7 assists, 3.3 steals, 2.7 blocks over his last 3 games. Griffin's averaging 20.3 points, 9.3 boards, 6 assists in his first 3 games. They had not had a statement win yet until they beat the Blazers 111-91 at home on Monday night. Griffin and Drummond combined for 38 points, 26 boards, 11 assists. But I need to find out if Drummond is okay, and I'm curious to see if the chat knows. Pistons are 17-10 at home. Nets are on the second half of a back-to-back. They defeated the Pistons 101-100 in Detroit. They can't defend without Hollis Jefferson. Now Chris LeVert's entered concussion protocol. Quincy Acey's not coming back because all he can do is shoot with that middle finger. Tell me, how can Jarrett Allen and Jahlil Okafor handle Drummond? They can't. But I need to know that he's 100%.
All right, well, I'm going to take the Nets team total under 100 minus 110 at Heritage right now. Pinnacle's actually leaning down to minus 112. So I'm on the Brooklyn Nets team total under 100 minus 110. And do you want to make a pick on this one, or should we move to college basketball, Jim?
Everyone. So Donald Trump says his brother from the Detroit News, which is, says Drummond is good to go. I expect him to be good to go. But I don't want to look like an asshole with making this bet, doubling up on this bet without him. I mean, if they do, I bet you I'll hedge it on the late show if that happens. Okay, I'll double up. I'm going to want to send this in, and I'll double up on the Pistons. I think they roll tonight. That was a statement win over the Blazers. They'll do it again against the Nets. I'm going to double up first half full game.
Tom Marino saying Nets are solid on back-to-backs. Young team with decent bench. Detroit is off of a big win, so I'm assuming that Tom Marino would disagree with my lean to the Nets team total under. I did bet that one. Reggie likes the full game under. McGogster was leaning under as well. A lot of people saying that they like the under on that one. All right, I'll hold off. I'm going to give it, but I'm looking for more. Interesting comments here. All right, so what are you going to take, first half and full game?
What am I getting first? Can I go over the
All right, line? Yeah, well, the full game would be, best line would be 9 minus 110, and first half, I believe, would be 5 minus 110.
I'm going to stay off of this right now. Okay. King Rail, Tomor, these guys I respect are not saying it. Gogster is saying Pistons first half. I'm just going to sit on it for a bit and make a decision.
Interesting. So King Rail says Nets are the play +9. I wonder what King Rail would think about the Nets team total under. Presumably he would disagree with that, but maybe not as strongly as a play on the Pistons. Maybe we see like a 93-89 type win for Detroit. The Nets cover, but the Nets team total goes under. All right, I'm sticking on the team total under. All right. So let's move on, okay?
Yep.
All right, so college basketball, a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of plays that I did bet. I did bet Penn State at -4.5. I think it's a good spot for them over Maryland. Penn State's coming off a big blowout win, so I bet that one. I didn't have a chance to look at any of the totals, but I can tell you the bets that I made. I did bet Penn State -4.5. I did bet Marquette +6.5 against Seton Hall. Seton Hall is a very good team. That line is now down to 6. Feels, though, like it's a game that's more likely than not to go down to the wire. Virginia against Florida State, obviously a very interesting game. I did not touch that one, but the line movement is interesting. Virginia, obviously a juggernaut, but Florida State opened as a 3-point dog. Now they're a 2.5-point home dog. We'll probably want to look into that one to see what's up with that. Oh, man. I bet UNC Greensboro +5.5. Now it's down to 4. Fuck. I wanted to take that one at 5.5. Maybe I'll give that one anyway. I also bet Loyola, Illinois -10.5 against Drake. That's now up to 11. I definitely bet Evansville at 3.5 over Valparaiso, and that one has not moved. I think I might give all these. Obviously, Ohio State at Purdue is a fascinating matchup here. Ohio State, usually a big favorite and often a good bet, although not always. We know that SBR contributor Bobano a while ago said just take Ohio State against the spread until further notice. Now they're getting a big underdog line here against Purdue. Purdue, a great team, but I mean, even on the road against Rutgers, they lost ATS by a mile, barely escaped with the win. I was thinking that Ohio State plus the points there might be worth a shot. Let me see what are some of the other games. I did also take Iowa State +14 at Texas Tech. That line has not moved, but I'm thinking that might be just a few too many points there. And that's it. So once again, the bets that I made, I did bet Penn State -4.5, and I'm going to think about that for a little bit more. Let me see. Other bets that I made. Yeah, Marquette, I bet it at 6.5, and I'll give it here, even though it's down to 6. I will take Marquette +6 -109 is the current best line at Pinnacle. Marquette +6. -109. Okay, the St. John's Villanova game, very interesting. Obviously, St. John's often plays Duke tight. That win against Duke was very surprising, but not, out of the strata out of the universe surprising. St. John's often plays Duke very, very tight. Now they're giving 16 points they're getting 16 points from Villanova. That is a tough one. Villanova, a little bit of a thin bench. You know what I mean? They have some awesome stars on that team, but not totally sure that they're a number 1 seed that's just going to blow teams out night after night. A little bit of a thin bench for Villanova, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. Virginia, Florida State. Again, I passed on that one. It's an interesting game. Let me see. All right, UNC Greensboro. Damn it. I bet it at 5.5. It's now down to 4. Okay, fine. I'll take UNC Greensboro at +4 -110, even though I got it at 5.5, and I think I might take the first half on that one as well.
Antoine Seymour is wondering, and I haven't fully capped this game, although my lean is to Penn State, but he asked earlier, and I forgot to mention it. He says, Pete, why'd you like Penn State?
The spot. Mostly about the spot for Penn State. They got big momentum at home. Maryland is here. Let me pull up my. I'm gonna have to pull up my. I will answer that question more in depth in the 6 o'clock show. How about that?
Yeah, the spot was the reason for me too. Can I? Do you mind if I talk about the Virginia Florida State game a bit? It's extremely.
Did you look at the college games?
Oh yeah. Well,
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. There was a smaller card.
Go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead, Jimmy.
And I know we don't have as much time, so I'll go as fast as I can.
Well, wait. Maybe we do. Hey, Juanma, do we have to get out of here by 12 o'clock on the dot?
No, doesn't have to be at 12.
There you go. The call has come. What Juanma says goes. That's a final decision right there. Go ahead, Jimmy. Say whatever you got to say about any games.
Well, this Virginia-Florida State game couldn't be more interesting. And I understand both sides here, but God, does Virginia look... how could you not trust them with the way they've been playing? Florida State has disappointed with a 6-5 start in ACC play. They're 10-1 in Tallahassee. Their only loss came to Louisville, 73-69, January 10th. That loss stopped a 28-game home winning streak. They're very good at home, and they got the revenge. They went into KFC Yum Center, beat Louisville 80-76. PJ Savoy is still questionable with a knee injury, but he doesn't have a big role on this team. Virginia's on the 14-game winning streak. Nigel Johnson's still serving his 3-game suspension. Virginia went into Wake Forest, beat them by 10, 59-49. Florida State went into Wake Forest and lost by 4. Both teams are led by very dynamic guards. But Terrence Mann can also defend the perimeter very well, whereas Kyle Guy can't. But Kyle Guy is also a great guard. They both average 15.5 points a game. Florida State has a lot of length to defend the perimeter, but Virginia's defense is excellent. And then when Florida State brings out Christ Kumaji, 7'4", Virginia has Jack Salt. And although Jack Salt's 6 inches shorter, he does have 20 pounds on him, so that's not going to be an advantage for Florida State. I think it's very difficult not to take Virginia here. Now, I've made mistakes, and we've all seen me make mistakes with these teams that are better than the team that they're playing, but they're on the road, traveling to a spot where a team is very good at home. And that's my only worry. That's my only uncomfort, is that am I making the same mistake that I keep making? Nick,
that would be a nice little gambling song title. Am I making the same mistake that I keep making? Or a first line for a song. Let's write that down somewhere. Yes. A lament, a ballad, you know?
It does sound nice. It does sound nice.
I'm going to write that one down. Talk about more games while I write this down. Comedy in my comedy folder.
Please do. Please do. Now, when I look at who is on Virginia right now, and I look at the guys that we cap with, I look at Max's plays right now. Maxwell Smart, who's an absolute great handicapper. He says Penn State, Virginia, Auburn, Purdue. It is almost impossible to create legitimate arguments why these 4 teams aren't going to run. But does that mean that this is too easy and too simple, or does that mean that it's the play? Justin Searcy says betting against University of Virginia is losing money. Hal Abraham says, don't worry, just bet University of Virginia. It's NBA conference premiums on the University of Virginia game under. Now, we know that on the talk, Lucky Luch told us that on the roundtable, the play was to take the over. And the line is tight in this game. And if you look at past performances, it could really go either way. I can't help but take Virginia. And I'm going to. And am I making the same mistake that I've been making, Pete?
I don't know, but we're going to write a song about it either which way. We're going to write a song about it. That's going to be a good song. Tin Pan Alley style. Am I making the same, Tin Pan Alley style, a lament, Gershwin style.
Dan Kelly says nothing like a home dog in college sports. Young guys in awkward situations. You know what? Hold me off this.
Okay,
I'm not gonna sing that fucking chorus tomorrow necessarily.
Yeah.
I do think it's the play, and I will be studying it. Twatty, who's doing such great work with Total, says they can't make the under low enough.
Interesting. All right, I have not had a chance to look at any of the totals, but these are all the plays that I will add on for right now. Marquette +6 -109. Iowa State +14 -106. I will take NC Greensboro +4 -110, although I bet it at 5.5, and I will also take NC Greensboro first half +2 -110. And I'm going to take Evansville first half -2 -103, and full game -3.5 -110. For now, those are all the plays that I'm making. I might look into them more deeply and get obviously information from commenters and pull any of those games. The only one I really feel a little bit uncomfortable about is the Evansville game. I feel like that might be a little bit of a trap. Iowa State I'm good with. Marquette I'm good with. NC Greensboro I'm good with. I am going to take Evansville first half -2 and Evansville -3.5. And actually, Jimmy the Bag, if whatever you have time for, but if you find yourself trying to figure out what game to look at, take a look at NC Greensboro. At Evansville and
Valpo.
And Valparaiso, yes. Other games that I'm leaning towards, I'm definitely leaning towards Ohio State +9.5, but that feels like might be a little bit of a trap. I'm going to look into it, but I bet it, and I'm definitely going to be looking into Ohio State +9.5. That's a lean as of right now for me in this show. And the other lean that I have is Loyola, Illinois. I bet it at 10.5. It's now up to 11. The only reason I'm not giving it right now is just because it's a double-digit favorite spread, but I think they roll, and I would be leaning that way as well, and I definitely bet it at 10.5. All right, anything else you have to say about college basketball, Jim?
Just that I'm very excited with this card. Very excited coming off a 4-0 night, and to have some confidence when I look into this card. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to make a play on Virginia right now, although I quite like it. I'm going to watch the line. There was a lot of talk early on the East Carolina Temple game, how people, and I believe that someone was quoting Big Man saying you fade Temple when they're a big favorite. And this seems like a nice spot to fade Temple, although East Carolina is just so porous defensively, it's hard to trust them. So, yeah, we got Max Smart says, I love Richmond. Baseball Bob says, I lean Richmond also. Junior Alvarez says, Temple 1-6 when laying 10-plus points, taking ECU tonight. This is exciting.
Who's Richmond playing? They are playing. Let me find that game.
Lucky Luciano's on Richmond. Yeah. Kobe Valentine's on Richmond.
Wow. Oh, yeah. The VCU game. That game, I was like, I'm going to have to look into that one deeper later because I have no idea right now. Wow. So everyone's liking Richmond, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Interesting stuff. Did you get a chance to look at or think about the Ohio State Purdue game? Because that line looks like 9.5 they're giving Ohio State.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
We know how tough it is to play in Purdue, against Purdue. I'm going to hammer this game all day. I don't want to put a move out at this point.
Excuse me. Yeah. Very, very wacky stuff. I don't know what to think about that line. That's a lot of friggin' points, right?
It's a lot of points.
All right, so should we wrap up the college basketball segment?
And we're gonna our whole late show will be on it, and we're gonna have a ton of plays, and hopefully we'll have you guys here to help.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, so once again, Jimmy the Bag, you gave no college basketball picks yet, did you?
Not yet.
All right. For me, once again, college basketball, Iowa State plus 14, Marquette plus 6, NC Greensboro first half plus 2, and full game plus 4. And then I did take Evansville first half minus 2 and the full game minus 3.5, although that's the one that I feel a little bit more nervous about. And once again, definitely leaning Penn State. I bet that one. Definitely leaning Loyola, Illinois. I bet that one. And definitely leaning Ohio State plus 9.5. I bet that one. And that's it for now. I'm going to look at totals and hopefully have some totals plays that I'm liking in the 6 o'clock show, and that's it. Okay?
Yep.
Let's wrap it up. Thanks so much to all the viewers. We had another great, fun show. A lot of, I just love handicapping these games. You know what I'm saying? I just love handicapping these games. And Underdog says, love your Iowa State call, Shaq. Yeah, it just feels like it's a little bit, too many points to be giving to Iowa State in this spot. In these teams involved. We'll be back at 6 o'clock Eastern time with a whole lot more analysis of college basketball and reviews of the line movements in the pros. See you then.